when you actually have an opportunity, communicate very clear transparency from a leadership perspective. This is the state of the company. And, basically you have three options. One, are you like super dialed in, ready to fight? Just showing I was even referencing like war movies, Braveheart scenes,
Rocky,
that type of stuff, right?
Yep.
So, are you dialed in? Or two, are you lost and you need to meet with me personally to talk through your situation in terms of what is your role in terms of getting Kumu back to being profitable again? Or number three, is your season over at Kumu? And then from there, giving the proper time for the people who do feel lost to either choose, are you dialed in or is your season over? And then my next phase of communication was, okay, there's no time to think about being lost anymore. You're either dialed in or your season's over. And through that process, really getting to the heart of the particular problem. And I think that's when it becomes really important at that point where you start leaning on your leaders, folks like Ari, who's just been really amazing from an operational perspective, and Mark, our CFO, and those types of things. And, really bringing in key consultants and specialists who've done this before. And I think, from a communication perspective, and you know what, even despite all of that, you're still going to get criticized. And so that's the number one thing I also want to, encourage any entrepreneur is that, actually, I don't know if it's actually encouraging, because I was going to say, like, no matter how, the world is going to continue to move forward despite all your pain and the woe is me. And I think that's why it's like super, super important for you to really believe in the mission, to truly believe and just kind of have that, I don't know if it's a Black Mamba, Kobe, ice cold resolve to continue pushing forward despite the fact, because here we were just talking about maybe over the last 10 minutes about the heartbreak and the amount of deep thinking and decision making that you have to do to make these hard calls. And even despite all of that, to answer your question of whether, what is the proper way of doing this, is no matter what you do, you're going to be extremely criticized. People are going to think you're dumb or stupid under their breaths. People are going to hate you, all sorts of stuff. And, it's it was a pain threshold increasing year, because no matter what, then you start realizing, and then I start looking at Rexy this is like one of the more kind of ironic things is you start focusing on the gratitude, where you start reminding yourself. I was looking at those original emails where I wrote to Rexy back in 2017 about starting Kumu and reminding ourselves why we started this company in the first place. Or, looking at and talking to some of those early people and really spending time with those, because again, I don't want it to be a statistic when I say, it's really important to focus on those high lifetime value users to get back to sustainability. No, I actually went on the app and started talking to those high lifetime LTV users, where they say, because look, example, I go there and go, oh, wow, here's a high revenue generating user on Kumu, right? But instead of being a statistic, one thing that will help you remind you of this beautiful product market fit that you're trying to find is you start talking to them and you're like, oh, this person spent so much on Kumu because it helped them with their depression. They found their sense of belonging. They were able to pay their bills, to support their family. And I think that's what's super important too, that when you're at a particular stage and you're looking at that data, to not simply just look at the high value data that shows that you are building a sustainable company. Depending on the type of product you have, I encourage you to pick up the phone or message, or in our case, live stream, and spend time with your community. And you start reminding yourself like, oh, this is why I started Kumu in the first place. Like for example, imagine back in 2021, where engaging all these creators. We're trying to get all the 100 million Filipinos, and that costs a lot of money. But then getting back to sustainability, we realized, wow, we have really strong product market fit with overseas Filipinos.
Wow.
Who support Gen Z and millennial content creators back home. When you look at that, okay, fine. There's only 12 million Filipinos around the world who send billions of dollars back home. And there's only thousands of Gen Z millennial creators. So technically, we don't really need that big of a company to be break even, cash flow positive.
Makes sense. So you zeroed in on that demographic or that user base.
Yeah. And then when you start spending time with them, like I was, for example, healthcare workers in California, we, instead of spending, crazy amounts of money on, a reality TV show concept, we spent a fraction of that doing a singing contest for healthcare workers in the US. And the grand prize is a private concert with Gary Vee in Las Vegas. And, that type of thing where, do you see what I'm saying? It's like the programming still has that core value around focusing on the community, but we didn't have to spend so much money to try to get everyone there. We realized, okay, healthcare workers get a lot of value being entertained by our creators back home, and really focusing on that community, and so those are the types of things I really want to encourage any founders who are struggling, is to really remind themselves why you started the company in the first place, spending time with your team and getting dialed in there. And then number 2 is actually spending time with your customers.
Thank you so much for watching Hustleshare on YouTube. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to get more content like this. And to get the full audio episodes of Hustleshare and Founders Only, subscribe to our podcasts at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.